paper I presented today was devoted to the understanding of the creativity in journalism, in Russian journalism, and I try to focus on the internal conflict, because the tradition of creativity has been embedded in the idea of Russian journalism since the beginning of the profession in 1703. However, the new realities of market economy, which came to our media business in 1991, changed the attitude, and from this normative approach, which made journalism as a part of literary and art work, we moved to profit-oriented creativity, which is much closer to commercial motivations of the industry. So I tried to find out whether these global developments with the national, in the particular national circumstances, has a specific conflict in the Russian situation. And I think that Moscow readings are an important forum for Russian and foreign researchers to discuss global trends. We definitely benefit from this, bringing bright Western intellectuals to talk to our professors, doctoral students and students. That makes the substantial change in the approaches to research. We are more founded on empirical studies, and we make our generalizations and conceptualizations based on today's theories in global academia. I also think that students getting more ideas from professors in the educational process, students could know better the present state of media research in the world.
Creative workers and creative industries, issues of motivation, management and remuneration. So I would like to start with the question, what was the main aim of your work?
Well, today I presented two studies. One is looking at what is the driver of job satisfaction, because in the literature it has been proven numerous times that satisfied workers do better work. Oh, yeah. So if we want to have good media, we need to have happy media producers. And so we were looking into that and found that autonomy is one of the biggest drivers for media producers, whereas if we look at media sellers, those who distribute it, those who organize it, they're not so much satisfied by autonomy, but just about how much do they get for the work. So really an economic motivation.
Oh yeah, I see. And what gave you inspiration and power while you were creating your work?
My students.
Your students. And can you see any difference between Swiss students and Russian students?
I haven't experienced many Russian students here, but we do have some Russian students in Switzerland as well, and I noticed that they're quite hardworking.
Oh yeah, I see. Thank you very much.
Your theme is called Industry, yes, but creative. Why did you choose this theme, and what is the importance of this research in your opinion?
Well, we have a story, and the story 15 years ago was that the creative industry is going to give a new push to the economy. It will renew our economy, and that we will have a different way of working, a different way of living. And now it's time to look back what happened in the last 15 years, and we realize that the whole story, or the dream, which has been actually a dream, that we have a creative society, that this dream today has come true in the way of an industrial complex, and not so much in a way of a creative way of living. So we are kind of back to the start, and we see that the creative industries did not exactly deliver what we expected.
What is the significance of your research for the conference?
Okay, the significance of the research is that I think we have to rethink the notion of creative industries, in particular the notion of creative industries including the media. So the significance is that journalism as a profession has changed a lot over the last 15 years. Under the guidance of the internet, the journalism profession has an important shift, experienced an important shift from a an old profession which was bound to newspapers and which was bound to radio and to television, now is in a flow between different media, so journalism qualifications have changed. So what we need to do in that topic of deindustrialization, reindustrialization, to realize that the job profile and including what journalists do, so the content they create, this is completely different than it has been 15 years ago. And what we need to understand as academics, and this is, I think, our role as academics, we need to understand and explain what kind of shifts are there, what kind of differences are there today, different to what has been the job profile earlier on, and we have to redefine our business in a way, including the way we think about journalism as academics. So we as academics are very much asked to rethink our subject of research as well. So I think this is significant enough to contribute to the conference.
What role this conference plays for you and your colleagues?
It's an excellent conference, and one of its main contributions is that I'm able to meet people from Russia in particular, but also from some of the other countries, in particular in Europe, and we can exchange ideas and we can hear new information. So I have learned about various issues in Russia, in the Federation, with minorities. I've learned about Russian media, I've learned about internet here, and so I leave and go back to America with a lot of new information, and I'm glad that I do that, because right now, of course, things are a little bit more difficult between Russia and some of the countries in Europe and North America.
What is the main idea of your report, and why did you choose this topic?
I was exploring the question whether in fact the internet is the solution to job problems, whether it is the solution or whether it is in fact the problem. One of the problems of reducing the number of jobs, of the opportunities for young people for middle-level type jobs. No doubt the internet creates new jobs for professional, literate, digital people like you here in this institution. You have better opportunities probably than in the past. And there are more opportunities for very low-level type jobs, cleaning jobs, those kind of things. It's the middle level, the service jobs and the industrial jobs that are increasingly disappearing, and the internet is one of the factors of that disappearance. And so we have to look forward to how to resolve and create opportunities for these middle-level jobs, because otherwise politics will intervene, and politics probably will slow down innovation by trying to protect jobs, by protecting established organizations and established jobs.
Can you give a piece of advice for students who want to work in the sphere of media business?
Well, okay, that's a very good question, and I would say first they should be strong in economics and business. It is increasingly an integral part of functioning in media. Secondly, they should really be literate in technology in a very sophisticated level, because whatever exists today will also be old-fashioned in a year or two, and so you have to continuously be able to innovate and be ahead rather than a follower. So I think kind of the traditional content-oriented, authorship-oriented type skills, which are still important, have to be supplemented with technology and with business.
Why this topic is extremely actual in the contemporary realities?
You mean that of creative industries?
Yeah.
Yeah, creative industries are at the heart of culture, but beyond culture, the creativity of a society to face challenges of various kinds, be they political, be they physical, be they societal. And so to understand how the creative industries work, evolve, is hindered into its own creativity is crucial to better understand a society as a whole.
Okay, thank you very much. And can you name 3 main principles which guided you while you were creating your work?
Oh, principles. Well,
Yeah.
I'm an academic, so the principles are rigor, verifications, and thinking out of the box. I think it's very important to be able today to look at the broader picture, because academia these days tends to be very specialized. So people are more and more specialized into smaller and smaller issues. So there's need, and a conference like this one is probably one of these occasions where putting people together allows you to look at the broader picture, because otherwise you can't make sense of the world if you just look at a very, very small part of it.
Thank you very much. And my last question, what is the most memorable and interesting thing that you find here on our faculty?
The building is extremely impressive, but when I travel around, the thing that impresses me most is meeting people and talking to them and understanding what is specific about what's happening here and what is similar to my own experience. So the people is what I like most here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hello, Mr. Nieminens. Nice to meet you here at Lomonosov Moscow State University and the Faculty of Journalism. Could you tell me, please, your report is called The Three Levels of the Crisis of the Media and a Way Out. So could you identify those three levels of the crisis of the media?
Okay. So I started my presentation from the crisis, the general crisis, economic crisis that hit Europe and world more widely in the 70s. Because in the 1970s, big major decisions were made that affected then also the future of the media and communication in worldwide. The second crisis that I discussed, level of crisis, was the media economic crisis, which started somewhere between, real crisis started only in the years of 2000, when the new information technology, internet and social media then came, and the audiences migrated from the traditional media to the new platforms, internet and social media. And it left the old media, especially newspapers, without any advertising money and subscription money. The third crisis level that I described was a crisis of regulation. The regulation of the media is supposed to bring about public interest, public goods, public interests, promoting democratic citizenship and such issues. But now, because of the internet, is global in its character. So this kind of nation-based, territorial or even regional regulation cannot anymore provide democracy, if you like, or people's participation at all.
In your report, you mentioned a way out. So what is the way out of this media crisis?
Oh, I think it is much more general question than only concerning the media. So what I was trying to spell out was the solution based upon two major factors. First, we need a kind of a social force which is capable of organizing and creating a kind of organized political, counterforce for this global financial, if you like, financial capital on its power. And we don't see this kind of social movements today creating such kind of force. The second element there is a strong state, or a state which is powerful enough to force the financial capital, the economic actors to negotiate on democratic terms.
Thank you very much for the interview. We hope to see you again here, and we wish you success in studying problems of media. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Goodbye.
So, practically I was speaking about the multicultural aspects of the post-Soviet media space and media industries, and practically I had three major messages. Number one, that you cannot understand the post-Soviet media space without understanding that it's not in one language. It's a space in which you have dozens or even more than dozens, hundreds of nations, cultures, approaches, etc. And naturally, they will all try to express themselves to a certain way. So this variety is a very important element of the story. That's number one. Number two, that the specificity of the Soviet cultural space for cultural industries is the kitchen. The kitchen in the sense in which public and private are intervened, in which you are mixed. So in the traditional Western or capitalist media industries, you have the private and the public space, and they are somehow isolated. And here not. So historically, in the Soviet time, the private and the public was mixed, pushed together for several reasons. It's a long story why it's happened, but it's happened and it's remained so. And it comes out that now technology offers a chance to, in a way, to export that sort of kitchen technology to the global world, to the global media industry. So in that way, it's, if you want, one of the laboratories where these types of interaction are developed. So these are numbers 2. And the number 3 that you can map, I was trying to show in my lecture, different sort of maps, media industrial maps of Ukraine, Russia and Kazakhstan, trying to show how different they are. And how they are, I mean, even visually they are very different. So the central points of them are different. So therefore, to speak generally about post-Soviet space, it's funny, but it's not realistic. So this is the third conclusion.
And you mean about Moscow readings?
Yeah, Moscow reading, it's a sort of double kaleidoscope. You look to it and you look something there, and they look at you and they look something different. And naturally, the pictures are not realistic. Either the picture what an American is trying to understand here in Russia, or what the Russians believe about American professors, but that's the world.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.